speakers do we have?
I have 5 slips. I believe a couple of these may just be for consent calendar items.
Okay, and I do know that consent calendar items 2, 3, 4, 7, and 10 have been pulled so far. Okay, first speaker.
I'm going to try and read this so I stay under the time limit. My name is Adam and I'm a resident of Fullerton. I have been residing in this area, in the area south of Chapman, known as the Flatlands of Fullerton, for almost 8 years. I feel as though this area is often overlooked and at times not really given the attention that it deserves. I truly love my neighborhood, and it is filled with beautiful homes with fairly large lots, original owners, and really nice new families that have recently moved in. One of the most challenging aspects of our community, I feel, are the major corridors that flow through our neighborhoods. Several of the businesses that were once along these corridors have closed or are in the process of closing. There are several businesses that have been vacant and abandoned for many years. Some of these, if you haven't noticed, include but are not limited to the El Torito on Harbor, Tony Roma's on Harbor, Fresh and Easy on Euclid, Zaki Farms on Orange Star in Brookhurst, Starbucks and another adjacent bank that were once on Brookhurst. These are just a few of many that are all major properties along these major corridors that have recently closed. I am just asking if you can please keep this portion of what is going on in our city on your radar. The closing of these properties is definitely not good for our city. I truly believe the city faced one of its biggest losses when Al Zelinka left the position of Community Development Director. Al had true passion and truly cared about this city, and he did everything possible to attract new businesses and engage the community of Fullerton. He constantly was willing to work in areas that were outside of his specific purview and was always willing to think outside the box. One thing that I learned from Al that I'll never forget that he said is Fullerton was on a tipping point, and it is we who decide today what happens, and this will affect our city for generations to come. I ask that you please keep a watchful eye on what is going on in our city and ensure that we have people like Al Zelinka in place who are truly encouraging businesses to come to Fullerton and are passionate about making Fullerton great again. I truly respect everybody here. I hear a lot of talk about a lot of very important things, water, Coyote Hills, but I truly think these corridors and what's happening is really deplorable. And I think, you guys are the people that we elected to provide oversight, and I respect everybody here. I truly mean that. I've come to everybody's events, and it's really in your hands, and I appreciate all that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Barry Levinson, longtime resident and Park and Rec committee member. I want to talk tonight about the Hunt Branch Library because I found out some information through an article actually by Ms. Rands recently about the last library board meeting. And I pulled the library board meeting and it said item number 2, Hunt Branch future, action required. Now I would ask anybody here, including the members on the dais, to figure out what that means. Very opaque, I think intentionally. Anyway, what I learned from that article was right away, former city manager Chris Meyer put forth a motion to sell Hunt Library. And apparently the reason he gave was because it's in a location that's hard to find. I remember 3 years ago when it was closed down and we were assured it was a temporary close for the safety of the people. Now all of a sudden I learned that the city seems to want to sell it. What was even more distressing was another comment made by the current city manager at that meeting. He said he thought it would be a good idea to sell it to Grace Ministries as a sole source bid. Now, I'm here to tell the city manager, and he knows better, that it's never a good idea for the taxpayers to sell anything, especially a very expensive piece of property, as a sole source bid. But having said that, what I'm really concerned about is the comments apparently at that meeting was, well, the city just doesn't have the funding, they're not going to pass it, so we have to sell it. Well, as a Park and Recreation Committee member, I'm very much aware of the shortage of parks, especially in that southwest part of town. If you don't have the money to run the library, you certainly could run it as a park, number one. Number two is you seem to have plenty of money to come up with the big raises for the staff here. You gave a 6% annual increase raise on a couple of months ago. I noticed on tonight's calendar you have a 9% raise for over 2 years for the firemen, which are millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, yet a much smaller allocation. You don't have money for the children and for the people of Fullerton. I find that really, really incredible that you don't consider the neighborhood and the people.
Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Joan Brianna. I'm a candidate for Fullerton City Council. I also run the FullertonInformer.com website. Just a little bit of corrections here. The Fullerton Observer seems to have a problem publishing my name in it, unless it's in a derogatory fashion. But I was the one who made the first round of comments in here. My name is Joan Brianna, for anyone from the Observer here that's reporting, so you can get your names right in there. I'm not a speaker, I'm a human being. I'm also a Fullerton resident. The library is a very interesting topic. I wanted to bring to your attention again, you were all in receipt of an email from Cece on a potential movie night for informing the public on the dangers of wireless radiation, whether it be from cell towers, from Wi-Fi systems that you're going to install citywide or in the schools, or the smart meter issue. This is an issue of grave public concern. You've all ignored it. So I really want to encourage you to do the right thing. We've spent tens of millions of dollars on libraries, remodels, and we've got a huge Parks and Rec budget. We can have films under the stars. We can inform the public. You're here to serve the public. The library is in existence to disseminate information, not to censor information. And I believe that's why I called for the resignation of Mr. Cantor as the board president, because of his deliberate censoring of this information and not bringing forward what was given to him. I have an email that he was in receipt of this that did not enter into the public record nor bring it up in the meeting. I really have a hard time sitting here with the water issue. I don't know how long all of you are going to ignore the geoengineering. It is so obvious that when you look up in the sky every day that that is not what is supposed to be there. Ms. Fitzgerald, I heard you ask the Lord to bring rain. I can tell you right now, if you want the Lord to bring rain, I think you need to talk to some people to get them to stop spraying that stuff up there that's altering the weather. Ladies and gentlemen, it is called geoengineering. It is a reality. It is a fact. It is what is directly responsible for our drought. And looking the other way and pretending this is going to go away is not going to solve anything. We are being put into a very untenable situation, and the longer we ignore the reality of what is being done to us, the further behind the 8 ball we're going to become as a city. We had a room full of children here playing the recorders of 4th grade girls. I've talked at length about what's at stake with the reproductive capabilities of these children, with the wireless threat to them in the Fullerton School District. And, I just find it so ironic, we get emotional with the children playing the music, but you sit here and you've turned your backs on them. This letter was sent to all of you. I've spoken ad nauseum at what's going on with the children in this community. It's despicable. I mean, these children are in harm's way. You're elected representatives you're to dispense the public trust. You're supposed to have our backs. And when someone reaches out to you to reach out to the community, please convey that information.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, my name is Laura Macias, and I'm a Fullerton resident and the executive director of Hoya Scholars, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire and prepare the children from the Garnett neighborhood